Shows up, you'll be glad you planned ahead. Don't wait. Sale ends May 11th. Visit a showroom today. With By the Yard, life is better outdoors.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Brought to you by the Yard. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
The clouds will clear out and the wind will die down, but not till late. Cooling back to about 38 for the overnight low. Partly cloudy, cooler the next couple of days. 55 tomorrow with a bit of a breeze from the northwest. Partly cloudy and 55 again on Wednesday. We should hit the low 60s Thursday and Friday, up near 70 this weekend.
Mostly cloudy, breezy right now, 61 at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Not just something to listen to, it's how you stay plugged into what's happening in the world. News Talk 830 WCCO. You're thinking about it. Jason's talking about it. There are no breaks on bold takes here. Buckle up. This is Drive Time with DeRusha. Tuned up and rolling thanks to Luther Kia of Bloomington. Now, live from Minnesota's biggest microphone, here's Jason DeRusha.
Republicans want to say that Amy Klobuchar is Tim Walz 2.0. I don't buy it, and I don't think you do either. 651-461-9226. I think Republicans are cooked. I really do, and I hate this early making a statement that feels like, goes in line with what Kristen Robbins, the Republican, told me last week, that the media has anointed Amy Klobuchar. So I don't want to anoint Amy Klobuchar, but she is the candidate running a campaign talking about the stuff that I think a lot of us care about and a lot of us are looking for solutions. And Amy Klobuchar came out with, I don't know, it was like a 40-point some nonsense, 1 million proposals outlining her priorities. And basically, the fundamental question is this, because Republicans have framed Amy Klobuchar as just a continuation of the Tim Walz governorship. Maybe because Republicans have nothing better to throw at Amy Klobuchar. But the reality is, Republicans have nothing to throw at Amy Klobuchar. That's sort of my take on this. And when you look at a bunch of proposals that Amy Klobuchar made about fraud, a lot of this stuff is sort of, they're things that I think a lot of us say like, yep, this makes a lot of sense. One, you're going to make a database that says, all right, here are people convicted of fraud. So they go in the do not pay. Well, that makes sense. More in-person site inspections and unannounced visits. Yep, that's a proposal Republicans have been making. That makes sense. Review billing changes regularly. So when you see a big shift, yep, that makes sense. All this stuff, you're like, yep. And she has been very forceful in saying that Tim Walz screwed up and that she would have done things differently. Amy Klobuchar was on with Vanita this morning. And when I hear this stuff, I'm like, Republicans, do you have anything? Because before Klobuchar stepped up and said she was running, I think people looked at Lisa Dameth and said, Lisa Dameth is smart and has been very steadfast conservative, yet also willing to be reasonable and work with Democrats. But when all you got in response to Amy Klobuchar is like, it's just Tim Walz 2.0, listen to her. It's not Tim Walz 2.0.
Governor Walz and I have completely different backgrounds. I was in the private sector for a number of years. I actually did a lot with technology and cutting edge companies and worked with them and know this area. Secondly, I ran the biggest prosecutor's office in our state for 8 years, and I expanded the work on fraud and white collar crime I even once went after a Democratic appointed judge who stole money from a woman with severe disabilities, and not only got that money back, but put that guy in prison. So that's my background, very different than Tim Walz. Governor Walz has said very clearly that he should have caught the fraud earlier, and that's true. The people of Minnesota were ripped off. This never should have happened. And of course, he's done some good things, AAA rating for our state, lunch for the school kids. There's many things he's done. But the point is, on this one, I'm going to be a different governor.
Are you buying what she's selling? 651-461-9226. Because I looked through this list of proposals, and it's look, Amy Klobuchar is not coming in with like some sort of innovative, like, holy crap, I never thought of that. But is that what you want today? That's not what I want. I want competent government, eye on the ball, making sure our taxpayer dollars are being used in the way they were intended to be used. And like, let's just clean it up. Let's just clean it up. Texters, Republicans are a one-trick pony. Complain. You are 100% correct. They have nothing else. Another texter, Amy is one smart, tough candidate. She'll listen, research issues, get ideas from both sides, make a decision based on the facts. She doesn't care what people think. I wish I could work for her, says a texter. I will say I was looking forward to a robust conversation, a robust debate about the future of our state. And if all we get is you're Tim Walz, you're Tim Walz 2.0, you're Walz, fraud Walz. Amy's like, no, I'm not. I don't know. How do you not look at this and say, I think the Republicans are cooked? And to a certain degree, is this the template for what Democrats should be doing all throughout Minnesota? Acknowledge the failures, acknowledge what's obvious, lay out some solutions. Frankly, I think it's what Republicans should be doing too. A Republican Lisa Damath could have made this exact same proposal. Now, it's a little less newsworthy when it's the Republican, like, of course. But I think it's quite interesting. Dave's in Corcoran. Dave, thanks for listening. What's your reaction to this? Do you buy the Tim Walz 2.0 argument that Republicans are trying to make?
No, definitely not. And, just because Amy can't be beat, and she can't, she's going to win, and the Republicans don't have an answer, that's okay. That doesn't mean Republicans all suck. That doesn't mean we hate all the Republicans. It's just you don't have an answer to a senior senator from Minnesota who's been in the Senate, who knows more about the working of the federal government, who's been a prosecutor. The Republicans just don't have an answer to that right now. Doesn't mean you all suck. Yeah. That's okay. Maybe you'll have an answer next time, but right now you don't. The one thing I'd love to see her do is commit to appointing X amount of Republicans to, whatever. I'm going to appoint 2 Republicans to different offices because guess what? There's Republicans in this state, and I want the Republicans represented too. And I'm going to appoint 2 Republicans to, positions in my administration.
That's real good, Dave. Thank you. Good call. I think Dave is onto something there because part of, I think, the visceral reaction that many, especially in greater Minnesota, have about Tim Walz is that the original narrative was one Minnesota. We're going to come together as one Minnesota. And instead, as soon as Democrats had the trifecta, it was sort of, well, you guys, we're doing what we want. People feel like they're not being listened to. They're not being heard. They're not being seen. Now, to a certain degree, that does have a lot of Republicans sounding like some woke Democrats, right? We just want to be seen. But I think it's human nature. People do want to be heard. Go ahead and react to that. 651-461-9226. Drive Time back with more from you and your calls as they're lining up here on CCO.
This This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
You can feel the change in the seasons, the change in the weather. Spring is here. Summer is not that far away. And it can be a spring and a summer for you as well. It's Jason here. When I joined Olivia Weight Control Centers, it was during the summer. And I thought I just wanted to hit a number. I wanted to lose 45. Well, at the time, I thought I wanted to lose about 30 pounds. I was like, no, I can lose 40. No, I could lose 45. But now, 3 years later, it's not really about the scale. It's about energy. It's about balance. It's about clarity. It's about confidence. It's about feeling like myself again. And Livia can get you there as well. You're going to have everything you need to succeed. Livia has evolved. It is now a more complete path to better health. You get the personal plan. You get the medical support. You get the expert one-on-one guidance every step of the way. Do you need GLP-1s? Do you need hormone replacement? What works with your life? And let's make you feel like yourself again. Livia.com, Livea.com, or 855-GO Olivia.
Hey, Jordana, I'm Brian. I'm 58 and single. I have a house, bunch of investments. I have a sister I'm close to, but no kids or anything tying me down. So I never really worried about planning for the future. Recently, a friend of mine passed away unexpectedly without a will or a trust, and it created a huge mess for the family he left behind. I don't want to be a burden on my sister. I want to be prepared. So why should I choose Gutman Law?
Hi, Brian. Your instincts are correct. If you were to do nothing, the state would decide who's in charge and how to distribute your assets, which is probably not what you want. And your sister will have a lot to sort out by herself. Now, this is the reason why I chose Gutman Law. My family, Matt and Jamie, were so sensitive to the nuances of my situation after a divorce. An estate plan is more than just names and numbers on a piece of paper. It's family. Making it easy on them is what matters most. From healthcare directives to wills to living trusts, Gutman Law can help you determine what type of planning makes sense to protect you and your loved ones. 612-895-1616 or go to mnestatelaw.com. Gutman Law, giving you peace of mind today for tomorrow.
Is life insurance on your list of New Year's resolutions? Now is the perfect time to add it. A buddy told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I added this to my list this year and got it done. I called SelectQuote and was shocked at how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $18 a month. My wife's also 40, and her $500,000 policy was only $16 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, no medical exam was required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Checking this off my list felt great, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-280-5858 for your free quote today. That's 1-800-280-5858. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-280-5858. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Make Cinco de Mayo delicious with Easy Cater, the easiest way to order food from favorite restaurants for all your celebrations. From April 27th through May 5th, every order placed earns you 1,000 bonus rewards points. Whether you're looking for traditional favorites like tacos and tortas, festive options like a build your own nacho bar, or hosting a breakfast fiesta with huevos rancheros and breakfast burritos, Easy Cater makes food for Cinco de Mayo a cinch. Order now at easycater.com with promo code Cinco de Mayo 26. Restrictions apply. See offer details.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha.
Nothing. It just turns into nothing so quickly.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
I cry my eyes dry. Elizabeth Taylor, tell me for real. Do you think it's forever? Number one, but I never had.
Amy Klobuchar's actions over the last 24 hours have me more and more convinced that Republicans are cooked, at least in the governor's race. We heard Dave call again saying that Republicans shouldn't feel bad. It doesn't mean that Republicans have bad ideas or they're bad people. It just means like, look, what are you supposed to do? You have developed no candidate that can hold a candle to the senior senator for the state of Minnesota. I think Dave may be right on this. Mark is in Eagan. Mark, thanks for listening. What do you think about sort of the real line that Amy Klobuchar has been trying to very obviously draw over the last 24 hours?
I don't know that I really believe it. And I understand about, the Republicans may not have a candidate that matches up with what her bona fides are, but at the same time, I don't ever recall, I think she's marched lockstep with all of the Democratic agenda that's come out of the Congress. And Donald Trump was elected because of that.
Yeah.
I don't recall ever hearing her say anything about immigration where she thought that policies under Biden were not correct. I've never heard her talk about terminating abortions in the 9th month. I've never heard her talk about a lot of these issues that have been hot buttons on the right. And I voted for Amy at one time, but I've been very disappointed with her. I think she is. I think she'll say what she needs to say, and I believe 100% she's going to be elected. But
it's interesting, Mark, because you are right. Like, part of the genius politically of the way Amy Klobuchar has run her kind of political life is that she comes out very firmly against, things that are widely popular, right? So these sorts of super controversial, hot button, divisive issues that you're talking about, she tends to stay away. And I think she's gotten heat both on the right and the left for that. But strangely, it has created this path for her where if she really does what she's saying here, which is, I'm going to take all good ideas, including in this 40-point proposal, a number of these ideas have been brought up by Republicans. If she really does, and who knows, right? Like, often who they are when they campaign versus who they are when they run are two different, or when they're elected are two different things. But if she really does this, would that for you? Would you be impressed by that if she takes some Republican ideas and brings them into the mix here?
I'd be flabbergasted, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
it's
really so unusual today. Me too. I'm with you, Mark.
I really don't believe a lot of what she says. I think she'll say what she needs to say in order to get elected. I've grown up here and been in this state for longer than what I want to say. But my wife and I, for the first time, have talked about actually leaving the state because of the taxes and the tax situation. And I don't think under the Amy Klobuchar administration that taxes are going to be reduced in any way. I just got done paying for my license tabs, and it's outrageous. It's absolutely outrageous what they're charging and what they're doing.
Well, if I were advising Amy Klobuchar, I would tell her that her tax proposal should be rolling back the license tabs increase. I think that there's no doubt that has infuriated Minnesota.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens.
I mean, I'm not advising. No one asked me, Mark, so she hasn't reached out for my input yet.
Well, she hasn't asked me either.
I know, right? We're available.
I voted for her, but I've just been so disappointed with the way she's behaved in Congress.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Mark. Thanks for calling. Thanks for listening. Texters say, Jason, to say that Amy Klobuchar has been appointed by the media simply because they report poll results and interviews with talking heads that say Amy will be hard to beat is ridiculous. I agree with that. I don't think Amy Klobuchar has been appointed by the media, but I do think until this week, she has not, well, just like everybody, right? Like most people running are not doing a lot of local interviews. They're not answering, they're out there. They're talking to their fan base. I don't think the media has appointed her. I think it would be journalistic malpractice to act as if she doesn't have a massive advantage. Now, I will say, back when I was a young child reporter, back in the first time that she ran for U.S. Senate, I did a story saying that Patty Wetterling was going to be hard to beat because of her name recognition. So perhaps I was anointing Patty Wetterling. You know who did not care for that story that I did? Amy Klobuchar was not thrilled with that. Not thrilled with that. Lots of texts responding to the abortion thing. I'm not. Like, we all know abortion in the 9th month is not an actual thing. We also know that under Minnesota state law, there is ambiguity there that would allow for that non-existent procedure. And part of the fact that people get so irritated with politicians is they will swear up and down that it doesn't matter, it's not significant, but they will refuse to change the law because, God forbid, they be seen as listening to people who disagree with them. If you guys don't like what Mark is saying, call in. I like to let people talk. I challenge people when they're wrong, but I'm not having a 9th-month abortion debate on the show. We're not doing that. People. This is why these issues become the issues in the campaign, because everybody gets going. Texture says, Amy's been so quiet so far because she thinks she's a shoo-in. She was on with Vanita today. She did a news conference yesterday. I do think it will be fair to say, like, all right, like, she's going to have to answer tough questions. But I'm saying if you're stepping forward and saying, I'm taking all good ideas and let's let her rip, I'm down for that. More of that. I don't think it's make her very popular on the far left, though. Drive time. Back in just a minute. I want to talk about this May the 4th stuff again. Star Wars. Are you flummoxed by the fact that this goofy movie has so much life left into it? Me calling it a goofy movie has just elicited an intense head shake and a roll of the eye from Dan Cook. We'll talk about Star Wars. I want to know where you guys are on this. We'll do it in just a minute here on CCO.
Drive time with DeRusha. Tuned up and rolling. Thanks to Luther Kia of Bloomington.
Spring home market in effect. And you know what Chris Lindahl was telling me the other day? Chris has said, hey, everybody's been waiting for this like major shift. When's the shift going to happen? When are we going to get the big rally where all of a sudden things start cooking? He's not seeing it. The housing market in Minnesota is still very, very difficult. Yes, if you are an updated, top of the line house, priced right in a hot neighborhood, you're getting tons and tons of offers. The rest of the market is struggling. That's why Chris Lindahl and the guaranteed cash offer is so powerful. Say yes to the big red check. More and more people saying yes to that big red check because they know the buyers are picky. The home inspections are tough. The interest rate environment is uncertain. All of this uncertainty gets offshored. Boom. Shove it to Lindahl. He takes the stress. You get the big red check. Cash the check. Say yes to the guaranteed cash offer. Find out if it makes sense for you. There's a free smart seller guide right at the top of chrislindahl.com.
Dependable in extreme conditions. Field tested across the state since 1924. One resource has helped Minnesotans navigate it all. News Talk 830 WCCO.
My parents talk about how CCO got them through the tornadoes of 65, and they certainly helped me in the blizzard of 91.
Reliable in temperatures both above and below zero.
CCO has been part of my morning routine longer than my coffee maker, and that thing never quits.
Battery life? Over 100 years and counting.
These guys help me emotionally prepare for another Minnesota sports season. That's survival.
All-weather performance, Midwest tough, no assembly required. Minnesota's unofficial survival guide. News Talk 830 WCCO.
Chad back here with you. I want to talk about trust and peace of mind. We all need it, in particular in some areas, including your insurance. Maybe it's for your business, or maybe it's more traditional with your house and your car. For me, I have trusted Amber Scholl and associates with American Family for what are you guessing? 5 years, 10 years? No. My entire family, whether it's my father or my kids, with American Family, with Amber in particular, for 30 years. We dread something bad happening with our house, with a car accident, but we need people with expertise, with professionalism and availability, and that's what Amber and her team are all about. Reach out to them today. It's worth it. Trust me. 651-738-4811.
Maintaining a larger home while you were younger and were raising a family might have been worth it. But now that your kids are older and so are you, could be more work than you want, admit it. If you're thinking about downsizing, you need to call my friends from the John Schuster Group, Coldwell Banker Realty. It's Vanita here. Lowell and Linda have been hearing me tell you about the good neighbor agent and the client success stories for years. When they were ready to downsize, they knew they had to give John a call. The Schuster Group specializes in senior relocation services. They also specialize in marketing, really important, which helps their home sellers sell their houses fast and for the most money possible. That makes the next stage of life a lot easier. It only took John 16 days to find Lowell and Linda a buyer. Curious what your home is worth? Find out in seconds on johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. johnschustergroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
Staples presents Celebrations Made Easy.
I was throwing a party for the twins and had custom invites and a banner printed at Staples. And that's when I saw Party City is now at Staples.
Party City? No way!
Yep. So now Staples has all your printing needs and everything you need for a party.
Everything times 2.
Yeah. And now at Staples, save 40% on custom cards, photo gifts, wrapping paper, banners, and more.
Big news. Party City is now at Staples.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in-store, online, or on the app. In 613, exclusions apply.
You know the rush when you reach that goal, when something you've worked for pays off. That's success. At University of Maryland Global Campus, we believe you should never stop chasing it. That's why we offer a skills-based education that helps move your career forward. Learn how to apply emerging technologies like AI and data science. Build your leadership and critical thinking skills. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start May 13th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Shell.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Slow down in place, 35E, both directions right now between Shepherd Road and 994. Going to find some slowing on 394 eastbound as well. Work Parkway into downtown Minneapolis. 494 northbound on the heavy side as you come up from Bass Lake Road into the Fish Lake interchange. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Washburn-McCreevy invites you to a free seminar for pre-planning your funeral and cremation services to help protect your family in the future. Enjoy food visit with speakers from the Crystal Lake Chapel Thursday, May 7th, 11:30 a.m. at Pub 42 New Hope. Information at washburnmccreevy.com or 612-377-7841.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Forecast brought to you by Washburn McCreevy Funeral, Cremation, and Pre-Planning Services. Here is my buddy, Chris Schaefer.
The wind will settle down and the clouds will clear out, but not until late tonight. Temperature will fall back to 38. It is going to be cooler the next couple of days. In fact, about 10 degrees below average, reminiscent of last week with highs of 55 tomorrow and Wednesday with partly cloudy skies. Up into the 60s Thursday and Friday. For the fishing opener and Mother's Day, we should warm to 70.
Kind of windy out there today, isn't it? 58 degrees in downtown Minneapolis, 54 in Osseo, but it feels like 39. That's a 20-mile-an-hour wind on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
And you just hear it, it does something, doesn't it? That John Williams score, unbelievable. One of the best opening sort of refrains in cinema history. Today is a day where nerds get to say, "May the 4th be with you."
May the 4th be with you, Jason.
And Catholics responding with your spirit. I mean, that's...
I still get the "and also with you." Well, the old school Catholics.
Yeah, if you're "and also with you" and you have not been to church in quite a while.
Yep.
My mother, who always is asking questions about when we go to church, but, I notice her hesitation. Some of the... I was just thinking about this today. I reposted Harrison Ford's post, which has 5.4 million views on X. Made just a simple GIF of May the 4th be with you. It is one of those movies that people our age, Dan.
Yeah.
This is our childhood. Star Wars. I mean, the first Star Wars came out in the late 70s, right? So probably, what was it? 77? Was that the first movie?
I believe so, yes. 77, 81, 84, I think were the original trilogy releases.
So we were 2.
Right.
So we didn't see that.
Yeah, I didn't see the original in the theater until much later in life, but Empire Strikes Back was, I believe, the first movie I ever saw in a theater.
It makes you wonder, what is it about Star Wars that has it enduring? I think more than any other movie franchise, and not only in the success of the films and the TV spinoffs and the theme parks and all the stuff, but the fact, I do think this day, as much as I would like to make fun of it and rip on it, I think there is something different about how this movie has these kind of moments. And when you think about Star Wars, if you go back and watch the first Star Wars today as a non-fan, maybe you're seeing it for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very plausible that you would see that and you would think, like kind of the special effects are pretty cheesy.
No, they're not. No, I actually, because I have experience with people seeing it for the first time very recently. And every single time I'm with that person, the response at the end is the same. Oh man, that was better than I thought it was going to be. Because people who haven't seen it, all they get is the hype, right? All they get is the nerds like me that just go crazy about it. Like, it can't possibly be that good. And I'm not saying all of them then turn into super Star Wars nerds. They don't. But the special effects hold up. The only things that really don't hold up are the haircuts and some of the outfits, because those are clearly screaming 70s to you. But they were so far ahead of their time. And then, of course, Lucas has done updates to the films over the years.
Sure, of course.
So it does.
What do you think it is, though? Why do you think?
I think it's two things. One is that at its heart, Star Wars is the kind of story that just endures. That it's the kind of story that other films, other plays, other, different forms of media try to copy, this basic story of good versus evil and how that roots itself in families. But Lucas got to the heart of it in a way that just hasn't been replicated in any other way. And the second reason it endures is because he waited long enough to do the prequel trilogy until the technology was where he wanted it to be, that he ended up having an entirely new generation. You talk about you and I as Generation Xers having grown up with the trilogy.
Right.
My nephew, who's 22 years old, grew up with the prequel trilogy.
Yep.
And those are his Star Wars films. And that whole generation fell in love with those films the same way our generation fell in love with the trilogy. So you now have this fan base that expands over 2 whole generations. I'm not sure if the sequel trilogy will quite work out that way, but it might. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because those kids haven't grown up into having adult money yet. So the fact that it encompasses 2 different generations like that, I think is a huge part of its success. Yeah.
I think part of it is anchored in the time when these movies first came out,
Sure.
right? You think about the late 70s, you have nothing but bleakness in America. You have the end of the Vietnam War, you have rampant inflation, you have sort of oil crisis, you have a hostage scenario. Like, there's a lot in the late 70s that wasn't going great. And I was thinking about this weekend in the context of a couple of shows that I like watching on TV. Like, I like Yellowstone. But who do you cheer for in Yellowstone?
Mm-hmm.
Today, the anti-hero is the thing. And there's always, you can't just do a hopeful science fiction film today, there has to be like some sort of negative, artistic, broody side to it.
Mhm.
These films were fundamentally hopeful. There was no like, I mean, there was humor, of course. There was some sarcasm in these movies, but there was no like, this is the good guy, and then here are, well, frankly, a lot of today's entertainment has no good people.
guy. Here's the bad people and the slightly less bad people.
There's something, if you're going to endure, there's something about that optimistic, hopeful, good versus evil, of course, but I do think the hope is part of it.
George has always said that these were films made for kids. And so that good versus bad vibe, that basic trope of film, endures on a level where kids get it and glom onto it.
Interesting.
And adults look at it and go, yeah, I know it's made for kids, but boy, I sort of identify with that. I was literally just watching the first 2 prequels last night. And the very first, the Star Wars is famous for that crawl at the beginning of each film that, sort of does the little prologue for the story. And for episode 1, the prologue includes this bit about the taxation of trade routes, causing a major conflict and that could lead to war, and people are trying to avoid the war. And I remember vividly at the time, folks making fun of that. Like, really, we're talking about taxation of trade routes, and where is that ever going to resonate? Well, hello.
Right.
Look at the news right now.
Yeah.
Trade routes seem to be kind of important right now. So you have a kid's story, or a story made for kids that is rooted in enough reality. You brought up Vietnam. Lucas has said repeatedly that themes from the Vietnam War were a huge influence on that initial Star Wars film. That basic themes of good versus evil and having it rooted in a family, surrounded by enough stuff that feels relevant, that feels resonant.
Yeah.
It's a unique mixture that you just don't see in many other film franchises, and it's why it appeals to so many people across so many generations.
And your point that the next generation, the prequels, also did reflect the times. More racial inclusivity, more sort of character development or struggles, which fit the times.
Yeah.
It fit the times. Texter saying it's the music. I do think the music is a big part of it.
Huge. I think, if you're, I won't claim that it was first, because I believe Jaws, I think Jaws came out before the original Star Wars film did. And that, I think, was the first. First of all, they call that the first big summer blockbuster.
Yeah.
Which then Star
Wars.
And
the critics didn't like it. The critics didn't love Jaws because it felt like commercially skeezy, and they didn't really like the first Star Wars.
Not right away. But then, when they saw the lines going around the block for every viewing of it, they changed their tune real quick.
Yeah.
But Jaws, so Jaws had that first big summer blockbuster vibe. It had the musical score that was so integral to the storytelling in it. That was first. But Star Wars did it as well, if not better.
Well, may the 4th be with all of you who celebrate. And for those of you who are so proud that you've never seen a Star Wars movie,
you're just missing out.
It's okay.
Not everybody has to love everything.
No, but you can let it go. You could I know it's cool. It's so cool to be like, I'm above that. But like, I will say the other part of this that has this film enduring for me is that exactly, Dan said it, that it crosses generations.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also, because of that timing, there's a parent-child
very much so
phenomenon that happens. And maybe an uncle and nephews or nieces. There's that as well. But for me, having my kids really get into Grogu and all of the different, and it became something, especially during COVID, that was something we did together. And there are not that many sort of cultural things that you can enjoy together like that.
Mandalorian and Grogu films coming out late this month. Should we do a show outing? You want to go?
I think we should do a show outing.
You mentioned it. It's that bonding that happens over it. I remember when nephew number 1 was little, growing up, and he was attached to those prequel films. I wasn't excited about those films. They've grown on me over the years, but at the time I wasn't hugely into them. I don't think I really understood.
Yep.
I think a lot of people from my generation thought those films should be for us, and they weren't. They were for my nephew's generation. And once I understood that, I enjoyed them a lot more. But I had the first two on DVD. Of course, it was still DVD back then. And I didn't have the third one. And so for Christmas that year, nephew number one got me the third film on DVD. And he was the kid was vibrating. He was so excited to give this to me because he was so sure I was going to love it because he loved it so much.
Cool. That
he hands it to me as a wrapped package and then proceeds to tell me what it is before I even open it because he was so pumped to get. And, again, I got up this morning. That nephew sends me a text with that same May the 4th be with you graphic that Harrison tweeted out. Same thing. He sent that to me. And that's a bond he and I have that I don't have with anybody else in the family like that. And it's something special that I'll always treasure.
Texters say the rides are the best. I agree. Those Star Wars rides at Disney are unbelievable. George Lucas, Jim Henson, John Williams, combined forces, the arts and imagination.
Frank Oz, don't forget him.
Frank Oz, yeah. One texter says, knock it off, though. Hijacking my birthday for Star Wars is unacceptable. Man, I'm sorry.
That'd be tough.
I'm sorry, man.
That'd be tough.
Happy birthday to you. We'll break. Gas prices in some parts of the Midwest looking at $6 a gallon. What is the biggest number you've seen? Text it in at 651-461-9226.
Drive time with DeRusha is fueled by Luther Kia of Bloomington. Always online at lutherkiaofbloomington.com.
I was just talking with my friends at Tureen Dermatology. They're up to 11 locations, adding more and more and more. And what I love about this is that Tureen Dermatology is growing, not out of some sort of big money, out of state, venture capital kind of approach. They're growing because they're looking at Minnesota and Western Wisconsin and saying, where can we be helpful? Where can we get care closer to you? It's Jason from my dermatologist, Dr. Mohiba Tureen. I go to Tureen Dermatology in Roseville. So does my wife. We're just there last week. Alyssa's dad has a history of skin cancer. So Alyssa goes for full body skin checkups twice a year. And unfortunately, she has to, I'll say fortunately, she has to go back. And they're checking on one of her spots that they removed last time. But it's that peace of mind knowing that, man, they're going to catch it right away. Skin cancer is no joke. We don't mess around with it in our family. And we trust Dr. Mohiba Tureen and the team at Tureen Dermatology. Make an appointment. You can get to all 11 locations, going to be 12, 13 soon, growing, but they're doing it for you. Check it out at Tureen, Tareen, dermatology.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100. And I'm telling you, I was ecstatic, could not believe it. I would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-491-9914. 800-491-9914. That's 800-491-9914.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WEB-NOW-1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
You're going to find some slowdowns traveling westbound 394 past Plymouth Road as you head out into Wayzata, making your way into the new work zone where traffic is down to a single lane at this point right now. Be on the lookout for the slowdowns again. Make your way through that stretch and give yourself some extra time. If you're going to be traveling 494 northbound, that's heavy as you move up from Rockford Road to Fish Lake Interchange, and slowdowns in place for 694, both directions between Lexington and 252. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
It is barbecue season in Minnesota. That means Minnesota pork. Pig farmers in our state care so much about the environment, their animals, and their communities. Get the best protein around for the best farmers around. Minnesota pork. Oh, yeah.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
20-mile-an-hour winds right now in Brooklyn Park. That will calm down into the overnight, more like 10-mile-an-hour winds. We'll get down to 38 tomorrow, sort of a similar deal. 10 to 15-mile-an-hour winds, 55 tomorrow, 55 on Wednesday. The average high is 65. Mother's Day looked a little better this weekend. Warming up. Weather brought to you by the Minnesota Pork Board. It's 59 in Brooklyn Park on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha.
That's my favorite thing to do.
It is one of my 2 or 3 favorite things to do, whether it's in the office, it's in town.
It doesn't matter. There's nothing better.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
Baby, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it when we fight and I like you.
I do not love it. The gas prices. We were driving in Burnsville this morning. I saw $4.19. That's the highest I've seen, $4.19. Mostly it's around $4.05, $4.09. I don't know what you guys are seeing out there at 651-461-9226. But once you're over 4, for me, it is in that, what are we going to do about it phase? Are we going to change the way we drive? Are we going to skip a long summer driving vacation? I know that like the actual dollar amount difference between 409 and 340 is not massive, but it is on a big sign. It is in your face. It is a daily reminder of the real world ramifications of what's going on in the Strait of Hormuz right now. And this conflict in Iran that is not over, does not appear, despite what everyone in the Trump administration keeps saying, doesn't appear to be closer to being over to me. So is there hope that these prices are going to go down? I don't feel any hope that it's going to go down soon. The Secretary of the Treasury today said help is on the way on gas prices. But what does he mean by that? He means like, well, we're going to get some of these ships out of the Strait of Hormuz and get them moving.
The trouble there is, what was our friend Patrick DeHaan said that it's going to be, for every day this keeps going on, it's an additional several weeks of time before prices start to come down. Even once this war is over with,
right,
and the oil's flowing, and the president, they're just going to tumble. They're just going to tumble. You know, the analysts say, no, that's not how this works. It's you have to get it into the refinery system, and it's a whole thing. It's just not going to come down right away. And I was at 419 at the station I was at yesterday. my rewards knocked it down to $4.09.
There you go.
Oh, hey, there you go.
$6 all over Chicagoland, right?
But it was not that long ago. I mean, a matter of weeks that it was in the $2.40 raised. So that is real money when you start adding it up, at 12 or 15 gallons a trip. That does really start to impact people's bottom lines. And there are going to be ripple effects throughout the summer, both vacation-wise and otherwise.
Texters are saying lots of 429s. Monticello, Blaine, 429. Coon Rapids, 429. Texter says EV6 is the answer. That texter has been looking at the latest Instagram post by me. Check out my Instagram. I spent a weekend with an electric car, thanks to our studio sponsors, Luther Kia of Bloomington. So check that out on my Instagram. Continental Diamond. You know what? If your gas prices are going to be high, you may as well go buy yourself a Rolex. What the hell? Continental Diamond. Graduation season coming up. Father's Day. Oh, check out the pre-owned watch selection. It's unreal at Continental Diamond. The time check, 3:58. Kate Raddatz, Mother's Day, and Minivans when we come back.
There's a new kind of energy at Starbucks. When your day needs a reset, try the all-new energy refreshers. Strawberry acai, mango dragon fruit, or the all-new mango strawberry. The refreshers you love, now with extra caffeine. New energy refreshers only at Starbucks.
Pump up the volume. Business moves fast. Pump up the volume. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Get your home into the comfort zone with Metro Heating and Cooling.
With the warm days of summer almost here, you're going to want to have an AC in your house. Call Metro Heating and Cooling. We'll be happy to help you choose the AC system that's right for your home and wallet. Get a free estimate at metroheating.com. Metro Heating and Cooling of Maplewood.
Get your home into the comfort zone with Metro Heating and Cooling.
metroheating.com.
$4 a gallon gas. Let's save some money at Luther Kia of Bloomington. Jason here from my Kia Connection. Right now, they've got more than 90 electric and hybrid Kias on the lot. I just test drove the EV6. So much fun, and I can drive to and from work for 2 weeks on a single charge. The hybrid Kia Sorento SUV gets great mileage on the highway. The red hot Telluride has a hybrid too. Check them out at LutherKiaofBloomington.com, where 35W and 494 come together. Tell them Jason sent you.
Streaming live via the Odyssey and iHeartRadio apps. This is News Talk 830 WCCO 1029 HD2 Minneapolis, St. Paul.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. President Trump says on social media that Iran has taken some shots at unrelated nations in the Strait of Hormuz. And he says during Project Freedom, the U.S. military has struck 7 small Iranian boats. CBS's Eleanor Watson with more from CENTCOM.
Iran has tried to interfere by launching cruise missiles, drones, and speedboats targeting commercial ships. U.S. military successfully intercepted the cruise missiles and drones and shot or blew up 7 Iranian fast attack speedboats using Apache and Seahawk helicopters.
President Trump says online that he, along with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman Dan Kane, will hold a news conference tomorrow morning. Gas prices remain high as the war with Iran drags on. Drivers in California are among the hardest hit. AAA says the state average today is $6.11 for a gallon of regular. DeAndre Evans is filled up in Long Beach.
It felt like I'm putting 30 in here. It felt like I'm putting $5.
The U.S. Secret Service is on the scene of an officer-involved shooting near the Washington Monument. CBS's Stacey Lynn with the latest.
According to one law enforcement source, an officer opened fire when a man at 15th and Independence Avenue took out a handgun and pointed it in his direction. That weapon was retrieved from the scene. The condition of the suspect is currently unknown. At the time of the incident, President Trump was holding a small business summit in the East Room. The White House North Lawn was briefly evacuated. Stacey Lynn, CBS News, the White House.
The Supreme Court has restored access to the abortion pill for now. CBS's Vicki Barker reports.
The order signed by Justice Samuel Alito temporarily restores the arrangement that existed before Friday's ruling, allowing women to obtain the pill via telemedicine or through the mail. The drug companies had asked the court to block Friday's ruling requiring the pill to be picked up in person. But this is a brief administrative stay in effect until May 11th, allowing the justices time to further mull the case. That may be extended.
Authorities in the Oklahoma City area are looking for suspects at a mass shooting up at a weekend party. Police say at least 23 people suffered injuries, although it's not clear how many were shot. Mayor Mark Nash.
We believe this was an isolated incident, and there is no ongoing threat to the public.
Britney Spears has avoided jail time in California, a driving under the influence case, by pleading guilty to a lesser charge through her lawyer. Ventura County District Attorney Eric Nasarenko pointing out,
if stopped, her vehicle can be searched for the presence of alcohol and drugs. And she cannot drive with any intoxicant in her body.
This is CBS News.
I want to know what's going on in the world.
I'm Tony.
There are big questions that all of us are asking. I want to get you the answers.
How are you?
I'm Tony Nicole. Join me on the CBS Evening News.
Minnesota's trusted voice. Every hour. Let's get you caught up with what's happening now on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Mostly cloudy, windy, 60 degrees at 4:03. I'm Laura Oakes. The Minnesota Senate passing a comprehensive gun reform package this afternoon in the aftermath of the Annunciation school shooting last summer. It's a package that includes a controversial ban on assault weapons. The bill's sponsor, Senator Zainab Mohanam.
With this package, we are not choosing to just do something. We are choosing to do everything.
But Republican Minority Leader Mark Johnson calls the ban unconstitutional.
This bill will not be saving lives because this bill does not have a chance of going forward as it is currently written.
It is unclear if the bill will pass in the divided Minnesota House. The Walz administration announcing it's shaking up the leadership structure within the Minnesota Department of Human Services after the Trump administration announced it is withholding more Medicaid funding over fraud concerns. State Medicaid Director John Connolly will take over as commissioner of DHS. Current Commissioner Shireen Gandhi has been asked to remain on as Deputy Commissioner to oversee Medicaid programming for the immediate future. The Chisago County Sheriff's Office searching for suspects after multiple drivers reported someone dropping large rocks and motor oil onto Interstate 35 traffic.
The activity stemmed from the 530th Street overpass in Rush City, leaving several vehicles totaled with the roadway slicked with oil. One of those vehicles belongs to 17-year-old Chisago native Weston Willem, who says a boulder narrowly missed his windshield as it was dropped from the bridge above him.
As soon as I got under the overpass, I saw the boulder. It bounced off of the road and it went in my car. My car lifted off of the ground almost, and smoke just started coming into my car.
Investigators are now working to identify those responsible while urging anyone with information or sightings of suspicious activity in the area to come forward. Taylor Rivera, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Groundbreaking today on the new Upper Harbor Amphitheater in North Minneapolis. It's an 8,000-seat joint venture between the Minnesota Orchestra and First Avenue that will host around 50 concerts a year. The project promises to reinvest $3 from every ticket sale back into the North Side, something local advocate Bill English says he would like to see used for more affordable housing.
At the same time we're building this amphitheater, we could be building 700 units of housing. That plan called for that. But so while we're congratulating ourselves, and it is congratulatory, I believe in it, but it's not enough.
In other headlines, big honor for the Minnesota Star Tribune today. The paper has won the Pulitzer Prize for its breaking news coverage of the Annunciation school mass shooting last year. The administrator of the Pulitzers saying the coverage included powerful stories marked by thoroughness and compassion. Downtown Minneapolis boosters cheering the news that an international law firm has signed a deal to move into Wells Fargo Center. Cozen O'Connor will be taking over 2 floors of the building beginning next May. And Wolves fans will be happy to hear that Ant is cleared to play tonight in Game 1 against the Spurs in San Antonio. That's according to ESPN, which says he will get the final sign-off after his pregame routine. Tip-off at 8:30 tonight. WCCO News Time is 4:06.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
You're ready for the slowdowns westbound 394 past Plymouth Road as you head out toward YZ and the new work zone there. Driving south 35W, you got some slowdowns 106th Street to Highway 13, 494 westbound slows between 35W and Highway 100, 36 eastbound, watching heavy stuff there as you make way between Cleveland Avenue and Hamlin Avenue. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCL.
With a well-designed will, trust, and estate plan, you can have peace of mind. Choose Matt Gutman of Gutman Law to give yourself peace of mind. Call him now, 612-895-1616 at gutmanlaw.com. Gutman Law, peace of mind today for tomorrow.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Brought to you by Gutman Law, wills, trusts, and probate law. You can find them at gutmanlaw.com. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
The clouds will clear out and the wind will die down, but not till late. Cooling back to about 38 for the overnight low. Partly cloudy, cooler the next couple of days. 55 tomorrow with a bit of a breeze from the northwest. Partly cloudy and 55 again on Wednesday. We should hit the low 60s Thursday and Friday, up near 70 this weekend.
Mostly cloudy, windy right now, 60 degrees at News Talk 830 WCCL.
You see headlines all day. This is the place where it all gets put together into something that makes sense. News Talk 830 WCCO. Good questions. Topics you'll probably talk about at dinner. Places to go for dinner. This is the Ride Home Reimagined. Welcome to Drive Time with DeRusha. Thanks to Luther Kia of Bloomington. Now, here's Jason DeRusha.
Hour 2 of Drive Time is going to be our last hour today because we have a special examining all of the financial issues and challenges in the hospital world. So this special report with Blois Olson moderating a series of conversations and panels. Great opportunity to learn more about the challenges and talk about what some of the options are for solutions. So that'll be on from 5 to 7 here on CCO. Minnesota Hospitals in Critical Condition, a special Fluence forum. So stick around for that. You know, it takes a lot for me to be willing to give up 1 hour of our show. Like, I know the cynics would say, well, aren't you getting out of here an hour early? To which I would say, how about you shut your mouth? Okay, mind your own damn business. I would prefer to be thought of as selfless, sharing an hour of airtime with the Fluence Forum. That's how I prefer to be thought. I better be getting out of here an hour early, though. I'll tell you that much. It's time for Kate Raddatz. Let's go.
Let's bounce some pop culture stories and issues through the lens of this Emmy Award-winning journalist turned media relations VP.
From TikTok and Target runs, what's trending and more. She's got the scoop for Jason in the Rad Report.
Now on Drive Time with DeRusha, it's time for the Rad Report.
Kate Raddatz is with us on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline. Kate, how are you?
Great. I'm honored to be in the condensed version of your show.
Yeah?
I feel really honored. I made the cut.
You made the cut. It was,
Yes.
you know, we talked about it, but like we
Oh, wow. There was a conversation.
we actually had to pick, is it Kate or is it Dave Schwartz for sports talk? And we picked you.
Wow. I feel honored. Well, I could speak about Mother's Day, so that makes sense.
We will get to Mother's Day. Last year, I sort of shanked Mother's Day, and I'm pretty good at gifts. Usually I'm all right, and I didn't do great last year. So I want to do better
like
this
on
year.
Your gift or what?
Well, I need ideas. Like, what do moms really want? 651-461-9226. What do moms really want? Or what was the best gift you ever gave or got? Like, lay that on me, and Kate and I will talk about that in just a couple minutes. First, today was my very last day with the first intern that I had, I think, since you.
Oh, that's a minute.
Correct. You may have
Wow.
been the last intern. I don't remember if I had. I think you were the last intern I had.
Wow. Okay.
Right. And then CCO got rid of it, or like they got rid of
I
good
remember
question.
that. Yes, I
Yeah.
remember that.
So you were the last one. And this would have been, when was that? Like you were
That would have been
20
2010.
Yeah. I told her it was like
20
15 years ago at least.
Yes. Yes.
So
And they still have their internship program, but this was specifically yours.
for
It
the,
was separate.
yes.
Yes.
There
yes.
was a time, like, did you get paid? I don't think you got paid.
We did not get paid.
Right.
No, I think that has changed. I'm not sure, but I believe that possibly
yes.
has changed.
Well, that's
Okay.
why they got rid of a bunch of the interns because they had to pay them.
we need to pay them.
Yeah. Oh, we can't
That's
do that.
different across the board now. Interns get paid. So
Which I
would have loved to have gotten paid.
I have mixed feelings on it, right? Like I understand like that the federal law is and I think it's well intended. Like you should, as an intern, you should be able to be paid, and companies should be able to pay somebody $15 an hour. But the truth is, like, Channel 4 used to have maybe 10 interns in the newsroom, and now I don't know what they have now, but back the last time I worked there were only like 2 or 3.
I
So
didn't realize they had that many at
Yeah.
one time.
there used to be a lot. So like, what's the win? What's the win there? I had a bunch of all of my internships were unpaid. I interned at ABC News in New York, and I was so jealous of this kid I knew who interned at Conan O'Brien because they paid for him. They paid for his subway fare.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like $1.25. But I was paying for my subway. I was paying for my dorm that I stayed in. I was in New York City and got paid nothing. What do you think is the right move on that?
The thing is, if you get someone who's a good intern and they genuinely want to be there. I mean, I remember I was working all of the time. I went into my internship, and then as soon as I was done, I would go nanny. And in the morning, I would go work at Dumb Brothers. Like that is all I did every single day. I was paying for part of my college. And so, it was stressful. And obviously, like I worked hard in my internship. So I think they should be paid. I do, because I think it gives you more opportunity to pay attention to your internship than trying to, okay, now I got to rush to this and I got to, because so many people don't have, my parents didn't help me out, but if I needed it, they could have. Yeah. So a lot of students don't have that luxury. So I think it's great they're being paid, honestly, even though I was not.
I think it's good also. It's objectively good. And you also have to face the objective reality that companies are going to have fewer interns. I mean, that's just, so there are going to be fewer opportunities.
And that stinks.
It does stink. Yeah, I wish there were a way you could rectify that. My intern that I just, today was her last day, I paid her. So that's how I paid half, and then it was part of a grant through the University of Minnesota where they paid the other half. So pretty good.
Now, if you had not paid her, though, I would not turn down a good internship if it was unpaid. You know what I mean? Like the experience is still so valuable. Like, do I think they should be paid? I think it is super helpful. I think
agree.
you get some really good candidates. But if I saw one, I'm like, oh, that'd be a great experience in the connections. I wouldn't look it over just if it was unpaid.
Yeah, for sure. So, like, if you were interning at ABC News and they said unpaid, you should probably take it.
You should probably take it.
If you were being offered an internship for Jason DeRussia's side hustle social media business, you probably should say no.
I don't know. I did get a job, so
that's true. I mean, it worked out.
It worked out okay.
It worked out all right. Kate Raddatz is with us. Minivans. I saw you last week. We were talking about your minivan.
I think it was only the first thing I brought up.
I read an article about the minivan coming back. That minivans were sort of cringe and embarrassing for like the Gen Xers as parents, but the millennials are embracing the minivan. What made you decide to become Minivan Kate?
Well, so my youngest child is almost 3 years old. So we really waited. Like when you have a third kid, everyone will tell you, oh, it's time to get the minivan. But I think, we travel a little bit with our kids. And I think because the very first time I rented one with them, it was when I knew. I was like, I'm done looking. Because we in the beginning said, we're going to test the big big XL Yukon, all that stuff. And it is just the easiest. It really does. I should be in an ad because it really does make my day-to-day life so much easier. That I just it wasn't even a hard decision of, oh, now I'm going to drive a minivan. I was so excited to go pick it up.
What do you think changed? Because there was this image of it for sure. Like, what do you think has changed? Because there's not a lot of availability. You had to deal with that.
There's not. I will say it is frustrating as someone who really wanted one to be functional and have some nicer features in it. There aren't a lot of great options for families. I do think that by offering things like all-wheel drive and hybrid capability in some of the newer minivans, it has given families this feeling of, oh, I can get some of these features that you're seeing in other vehicles now in minivans. And I just think people are so busy today that I've heard from so many other parents that say once they got a minivan, they could not go back to another car because it's just so much easier to get around and have something practical. I don't find anything uncool about my life being so much better.
Yeah, right. So, minivans now hold
miserable, so
2.4% of the market right now, of the entire automotive market, is minivans, which is the highest level since 2019. I don't know. I just think it's very, very well. I'm glad your life is easier. We want to make moms' lives easier. Mother's Day is this Sunday. What do moms really want? We'll talk with Kate. We'll get your feedback. 651-461-9226 in just a minute.
Drive Time with DeRusha on UNSTUCK 830 WCCO.
Every mom wants this one thing for Mother's Day. It's home and auto insurance. Oh, it's Jason for the Canopy Group. Wouldn't mom love to open up a gift wrap little package with a printout from Kyle over at the Canopy Group, sharing the news that Kyle has shopped 16 different home and auto insurance companies, found you the best coverage at the best price? Oh, my gosh, it's music to the ears of any mom or mom figure in your life, I would think. When I reached out to Canopy Group, you can do it online, thecanopygroup.com, or call 800-967-3389 and say, look, Mother's Day is on Sunday. Any chance we can kind of get this incredible package to get me better protections for my home, better protection for my auto, and maybe I could save a couple of bucks so I can gift wrap that to the mom in my life? Oh, they'll get it done by Sunday. Heck yeah. Get a quote online. I saved $820. That is serious money that you could use to buy mom a real gift. thecanopygroup.com.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-265-7681. 800-265-7681. You have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. 800-265-7681.
Hey, you! Yeah, I'm talking to you! We got a show and it's Guys and Dolls at Chanhassen and Dinner Theaters. It's terrific and delicious because you got dinner and a show. Don't take my word, everybody's loving it. The Pioneer Press called it a must-see. Star Tribune called it eye-popping and blazing with brilliance. I heard a lady from Eden Prairie say this is the best show she's ever seen at the Chan. Grab your doll or your guy. Get your family over here for Guys and Dolls. Visit ChanHasItDT.com.
Celebrate Cinco de Mayo with Easy Cater, the best way to order great food from favorite restaurants for all your festivities. From April 27th through May 5th, every order placed earns you 1,000 bonus rewards points. From traditional favorites like enchiladas and mole to festive options like a build-your-own taco bar, even breakfast. Chilaquiles, anyone? Easy Cater makes food for Cinco de Mayo a cinch. Order now at EasyCater.com and get 1,000 bonus points on every order with promo code Cinco de Mayo 26. Restrictions apply. See offer details.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Your daily detour into sharper conversation. Drive Time with DeRusha on UNSTUCK 830 WCCO.
Known you for ages, it's all that I've heard. My friends are in love with American girls.
Mother's Day is on Sunday, and the fishing opener is this weekend. Kate Raddatz is with us. Mothers at different phases of life want different things. So I was talking to Alyssa last night, and I think we were listening to WCCO radio, and they were talking about how moms want to be left alone, time alone. Because, you know, all the mothering, you're doing all the mothering. You want one day where you either want time alone or you want not to do the mothering. You want the dad or your co-parent, whatever, to do some parenting. Where are you on, like, what is the ideal for Mother's Day? Is it time together as a family, or is it like a little bit of time apart?
See, no, I definitely take time by myself throughout the year. I need that to recharge.
That's good.
Days.
Yeah.
And I will make that known when I
Yes.
need that. I like Mother's Day to be with our family. That is, like, being with my family is my favorite thing. And I don't judge people who want the opposite of that. My friends who they want the spa day.
I judge them. It's
You
weird.
do?
I think it's weird. Growing up, like,
on.
for my mom on Mother's Day, we would plant her flowers. That's every year.
I love that. I would love that.
Even when we were kids, that's what we did for my mom growing up. And to me, it's hilarious to think, like, my mother, who was a stay-at-home mom and was always momming, that she'd be like, you know what I need today? Like, screw you kids. I'm going to the spa. Like, I mean, I honor you if that is you as a mom, but I do a little bit judge.
To me, it's more, if you really need that time away, you should be getting that a different time.
Yes.
You know, like,
yes,
it should not be so bad that you have to schedule, like, no, that should just be allowed.
That's
across
what
the
I
board.
think. Yes, your husband is sort of failing you year round if this is like the one day you get like a break.
Right. Like, oh, you do whatever you want today. No, I can do that whenever I want.
So Texture says
I love spending time together on Mother's Day. I love it. Yeah.
the best Mother's Day gift I ever received was a hot air balloon ride across the St. Croix.
That is cool.
Have you ever done a hot air balloon ride?
Nope. I think that would scare me, to be honest.
It's so, first of all, like, we had this hot, and I think I still have another one where, like, I won it or bid on it at some charity auction. And they are so dang hard to redeem because the wind has to be below 10-mile-an-hour wind. So you set a date, and then you call the hotline, and then they're like, oh, we're not going to do it today. And then you pick another
You've had it
date.
for like 7 years.
Yes, it's forever.
Maybe that's your Mother's Day plans. What's Sunday look like?
Gosh, check the wind forecast. But then we did finally get to redeem it. I'm not kidding.
Oh,
it
okay.
took like 3 years to redeem this thing.
Oh, wow.
But I wasn't going to let it go. And I also wanted to do it. And so it was amazing. Amazing.
Oh, was it? Okay. Okay.
Also, how is it legal? How is it legal to put people in a wicker basket?
A basket. You're in a basket.
You're in a basket beneath like an incredible ball of fire. And the only control that the pilot has over this thing is up and down. Like, it's going where it's going. And you look at this, you're like, this seems ludicrous that it's allowed.
Yeah.
But it was
I think I
neat.
would chicken out. I think I would get there and stay on the ground.
It's so quiet. It's so quiet, too. You hear the big, like, you know, when the gas like lights up the thing. But then otherwise, you're just floating. Again, seems dangerous, but maybe the reason you don't hear of too many hot air balloon incidents is that, it's always too damn windy and they never get you up in the air. I don't know.
Well, that's true. So no for this Sunday then for everyone else.
I don't know. Alyssa has said like both of our kids are going to be gone. So
right.
no kids. But
that means it's on you to make sure your kids are calling Alyssa.
Well, they'll call. They're pretty good about that. But Alyssa's birthday happens on May 22nd.
Oh, yes, that's right. Mm-hmm.
So this is where I screw it up. Like, I'm focused on the birthday, and then this weekend I got a lot going on. There's like a bunch of charity stuff that we do together, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's Sunday, and you're like, oh no.
Okay, so the planning for this should have happened before Monday.
You know what?
You still got 6 days. Mother's Day trumps, well, these charity events sound very nice actually, but still you've got 6 days. That's plenty of time. But next year should start like planning a month before.
I mean, she's not my mother though.
Well, okay.
No,
that's
Dan
true.
just
and
wins.
Your kids are out of the house.
Dan wins. That's not a reasonable argument.
Run that by the mother of your children and tell the mother of your children that she's not your mother. I want to see the reaction.
Let's see how that goes over. Will you report back?
I feel like this is a conversation best kept for the radio. There's little chance she'll find out about this, is there? Right. Kate, happy Mother's Day to you. I hope John.
Thank you so much.
John does a better job than I did.
John.
Right. Exactly. Kate Raddatz with us. She is a big shot at McClung PR. So we always appreciate Kate visiting us every month. Let's break. In a minute, the Senate vote on gun reform. The Senate voted today to ban assault weapons and ban high-capacity magazines. They know that the House is not going to do anything with this. Performative or performance worth happening? Where are you on that? At 651-461-9226. I've got thoughts, and we'll talk about it next.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Weekend, we had some delicious Minnesota pork. It's Jason here for the Minnesota Pork Board. Proud sponsors of us here on CCO Radio, but I'm even more proud to tell the story of these 3,000 family farmers every corner of this state, working so hard to keep that culture of farming alive, working to feed Minnesota, feed America, and feed the world. Minnesota pork is lean. It's packed with protein. It's packed with nutrition. But more importantly, it's delicious. You want to take care of mom this weekend. How about take over the cooking? Little Minnesota pork this weekend? That's going to be a hit on Mother's Day. And maybe you need some inspiration. Go to tastewhatporkcando.com. Tons and tons of recipes. You could start your day with some bacon and maybe finish up with pork fajitas, maybe a Szechuan pork stir fry. Lots of ideas for dinner tonight as well. So get to your grocery store, get to the butcher shop, and let's have Minnesota pork for dinner tonight. Oh, yeah.
thought-provoking,
You hate cancel culture until it cancels someone you disagree with, then you're totally fine with it.
curious,
Is angst about our Minnesota state flag still a thing? I just don't get it. Let's move on, people.
they don't just react to the news, they shape the conversation around it.
Republicans, stop sucking. Win a dang election at the statewide level.
Minnesota's radio station. News Talk 830 WCCO.
Losing a loved one is difficult enough without having to worry about paying property taxes on a home you inherited. That's really tough. If you're in a situation where you have to sell a property you inherited, you can trust my friends from the John Schuster Group, Coldwell Banker Realty. It's Vanita. The good neighbor agent just helped Scott, a fellow WCCO radio listener, get his family home sold. He was going through a lot after his loss and wanted a quick, stress-free process. John's a compassionate guy. He was patient with Scott and also assured him he could get the job done fast without adding any stress. It took him less than 2 weeks to sell Scott's house. The buyer paid $10,000 over asking price. John made a stressful situation a lot easier for Scott. John makes selling easy. Want to know what your home is worth? Find out in seconds on johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. JohnSchusterGroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
For the ones who get it done, Grainger offers the professional-grade products you need to get the job done, with fast delivery you can depend on and access to technical product experts ready to help you meet any challenge. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by.
Download to see if you qualify. Not all customers will qualify. Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription required. Albert is not a bank. Albert Instant Loans are issued by FinWise Bank, member FDIC. Not an actual client. Terms apply.
Kylie, what's wrong? I just got hit with a car repair bill. I'm behind on rent, and I feel like I can never save any money.
Have you tried the Albert app? Albert is your financial assistant, helping you find ways to save and create custom budgets to actually grow your money. Plus, you can get up to $10,000 for big expenses or advance up to $1,000 fast when you need cash right away.
Albert can get me up to $10,000?
Exactly. Albert spots you in a pinch and helps you grow your money in the long run.
I'm downloading Albert right now.
Download the Albert app and use promo code BUILD to borrow up to $10,000 for whatever you need. The Albert app helps you budget better and save more money so you reach your financial goals faster. Download the Albert app right now and use promo code BUILD to borrow up to $10,000. Use code BUILD to borrow up to $10,000.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
And brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Going to find things running fairly decent for Highway 10 westbound, making your way between University up into Anoka. West 94 slows as you move past Hemlock Lane to Weaver Lake Road. Traffic is on the heavy side for 169, both directions between Brent Road and 394. Shop your favorite brand at Whole Foods Market. Get 30% off all Sayete items with Prime through May 5th. Pick up staples like taco seasoning and tortillas for an easy taco night. While supplies last, shop in store online. Terms apply. Trey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Get your home into the comfort zone with Metro Heating and Cooling.
An air conditioner at Metro Heating and Cooling is, on average, only $5,400 installed. Find out more at metroheating.com.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Metro Heating and Cooling brings us Chris Schaefer.
The wind will settle down and the clouds will clear out, but not until late tonight. Temperature will fall back to 38. It is going to be cooler the next couple of days. In fact, about 10 degrees below average, reminiscent of last week with highs of 55 tomorrow and Wednesday with partly cloudy skies. Up into the 60s Thursday and Friday. For the fishing opener and Mother's Day, we should warm to 70.
Pretty windy out there right now in downtown Minneapolis. It is 54 degrees, but that wind is blowing at 17, gusting up to 30 miles an hour. Hang on to your hairpiece on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha.
I think it's absolutely flawless. Whoever's idea was that is a genius.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
I can't move on, baby doll. Waiting on calls.
Normally, I like real solutions, not showboating and performative work. think most of us want progress, want results. But I think there was value today in the Minnesota Senate debating and voting on what would be a landmark bill that would absolutely change gun laws in Minnesota. The Annunciation shooting, I think, for many was the last straw to say something has to change. There's been pressure, especially and effectively, from parents of students who were in Annunciation Catholic Church. 2 were killed, dozens injured, hundreds of lives changed just in that room, besides those of us who have been affected by what happened there. The Senate had hours of discussion, and the bill would have banned assault-style weapons and high-capacity magazines. 0 Republicans voted for it. All Democrats voted for it. This was objectively a performative measure. The sponsors know it's not going to pass in an evenly divided House. It's not. It's not going to become law. But there are times, I think, where there is a purpose in getting people on the record and saying, okay, here is our plan. This would do something to try to make kids' lives safer. In this case, I think the performance is worthy. Maybe it's necessary. Do you think this is, I mean, I think everyone has to agree it's performative, right? Like, you know, there's no realistic path for this legislature to pass this bill out. And you also know the governor's not going to sign it. So it's just, well, the governor would sign it. Check that. But you know it's not going to get through. The only way it gets through is after an election if it becomes a Democrat trifecta again. And even then, do we know where Amy Klobuchar would be on this? I don't know if we know. Do you see a value in a performative measure like this? 651-461-9226. Look, banning anything is never going to fully solve a problem. The reality is you can do a lot of damage with a handgun. You can do a lot of damage with a bunch of handguns. You can do a lot of damage with modifications to weapons that wouldn't have them under the definition of an assault weapon. But if we do nothing about guns, even in the wake of what happened in that first mass on the first week of school in a Catholic school in South Minneapolis, are we just giving up that there's just like, we love our guns more than we love our neighbors, our children? And I don't take lightly the fact that the right to bear arms is literally in our Constitution. It is not the same as your driver's license or other things. It is in the Constitution. We hold that in high regard, and we should. But the right to bear arms is not an unlimited right. We've made modifications to that time and time again. And these guns are so powerful. But we are powerless to do anything about it. It seems that way. I think to a certain degree, you look at the inaction here. And I'm also in favor of some of the things Republicans have talked about here. But no matter what happens, Democrats say ban the guns, Republicans say fund mental health. Everybody does their little dance. Nobody does jack. And then we just wait for the next time this happens again. Now, the issue, and Jeff on Facebook raises a valid issue, because criminals and street gangs never follow the law. They have so many stolen guns, this will accomplish nothing. So first of all, criminals don't follow any laws. So by your logic, we should never have a law. Second, very often these school shootings are carried out by really screwed up people who purchase these weapons legally in the months prior to what's happening, prior to the shooting. So I disagree that it accomplishes nothing. Now, if you really were serious about gun crime and gun violence, the number one type of gun violence is self-harm. Number two is domestic. These are not like high-capacity magazine assault-style weapon issues. And I think you also could admit that there is something far more damaging to the psyche of a community when you have these mass shootings. It's just different. The frustrating part for me is that people can throw up their what about that, what about this, what about that, and they're often all valid to a certain degree, right? But we've allowed this to stop any progress. We've allowed, well, it's not going to solve the problem. Well, you know what also isn't solving the problem? Doing nothing. Doing nothing is not solving the problem. Texters say, yes, we do value our right to have assault weapons, and we prove over and over again we value it more than our kids. Another texter, Jason, I love my kids and grandkids more than anything, and if I thought these goofy gun laws would help, I would be all for it. Another texter, I support the gun bill, but it was a total waste of our legislators' time. They couldn't do it when they controlled both houses, so why now? I get it.
It's a fair question.
Yeah.
I'm with you that I generally, this kind of vote drives me nuts because it takes a ton of time for debate. Even one of the Republican senators, said basically as much as like, we're spending all this time debating and voting on this bill when we know the House isn't even going to take it up. The only value in this for me today is to show that a legislative body can actually vote on a gun measure.
Yeah.
Because usually what happens is the bill just gets tied down in a
never
committee
makes it
and
this far.
You never get an up or down vote. And that's what kind of drives me nuts with all of this is if you want to oppose, any gun control law out there, so be it, but vote on it. At least vote on it.
Yeah.
Put it on the floor, let people vote it up or down. And if it doesn't pass, then it doesn't pass. But we can at least say that we actually had a vote.
Yeah.
But we're so scared of these laws that we can't even vote on them. That drives me even more nuts than the performative politics.
Jeff in Sauk Rapids, you're on CCO. Jeff, what do you want to say?
Hey, Jason. This is performative. Well, we can only hope. Maybe we can get enough Republicans in the House. What's it take? One?
Yeah. Yeah.
You touched on something. I guarantee you this. If we do nothing, nothing gets done.
Yeah.
And as a veteran and a cop and a hunter, I value my firearms. I don't see the need for assault-style rifles and high-cap magazines.
Yeah.
I've got a 102-year-old Winchester Model 94 lever action, and you don't want to get into a gunfight with me.
Yeah, I feel like you could even do it. You do it for 10 years or something, or 5 years, and let's give it a go. Let's give it a go. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it. Here comes Kevin in Anoka. Kevin, you're on CCO.
There's a couple problems with this legislation that they're proposing. The Supreme Court has said I have a personal right to own a gun. They've also said that I have a right to own weapons that are in common usage, which an AR-15 style rifle,
sure is,
millions of them.
Yeah.
So the day that they pass this law, it isn't worth the paper it's printed on because it violates multiple Supreme Court statutes or Supreme Court decisions. And look at other countries like England. The rape and hot burglary rate in England is 7 times what it is in the United States. People in New Zealand are having to hire armed security guards for their neighborhoods because the only way they can defend themselves is with baseball bats and ping pong paddles because they're completely helpless.
Yeah. Well, there are lots of other weapons that would be allowed for sure. The Supreme Court is not. Thanks, Kevin. The Supreme Court hasn't taken a case to fully determine whether assault-style weapons bans are constitutional or not. And so I think they will. I think they will this next time, and then we'll get a definitive answer. I think many Republicans are getting ahead of themselves by saying this would be unconstitutional. We don't know. I think we really don't know. Let's break. More calls, more reaction. We'll keep it coming as we bring you up to our special on hospitals in critical condition as we keep rolling here on Monday afternoon on CCO.
Drive Time with DeRusha is fueled by Luther Kia of Bloomington. Go see Dan Dingman and the crew today or always online at lutherkiaofbloomington.com.
For women with postmenopausal osteoporosis at high risk for fracture, there's more you can do to strengthen your bones with Evenity. This is the sound of 4 women who think they're doing everything they can. A high fracture risk will cause 3 of them to break a bone in their lifetime. With Evenity, they could be rapidly building new bone in just 12 months. 2 think they already are building bone. And for 1, the game is about to change. To make an appointment, press 2. Because she's calling her doctor about Evenity. Evenity can increase the risk of heart attack, stroke, or death from a heart problem. Tell your doctor if you have had a heart attack or stroke. Do not take Evenity if you have low blood calcium or are allergic to it. A serious events have occurred with Evenity. Signs include rash, hives, swelling of the face or throat, which may cause difficulty in swallowing or breathing, muscle spasms or cramps, numbness or tingling. Tell your doctor about severe jawbone problems as they have been reported with Evenity. Report hip, groin, or thigh pain. Unusual thigh bone fractures have occurred with Evenity. Learn more about building new bone at Evenity.com.
Jordana here for my friends at Mini Leaf. Hear what they're saying about this brand I love.
Tell me about your experience with the night gummies.
I started using them. I think this is my 3rd order. I heard Jordana on WCCO radio talking about it, and I thought, well, if she's doing it, trying to get off the Ambien, and I started with the pineapple gummies for sleep. That's what I take them for, is sleep. And I've been very pleased with the product. I started with the full gummy. Now I only take half, and that helps me sleep. So I'm very happy with the product, and I'm 70 years old. So. And those sleep night gummies will help her sleep painlessly through the night. Those sleep night gummies are a real charm. Check out Mini Leaf's products at MINNELEAF.com. Check out that Triple Diamond Pain Cream, those sleep night gummies, or their other great products. I use them. There's so many CCOers that absolutely love them. You will too.
Mini Leaf means quality. Taste happy at minileaf.com.
The home of Minnesota's best legal products.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-284-1238. 800-284-1238. You have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. 800-284-1238.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Slowdowns in place for 694 both directions between Lexington and 252 West 94, slowing past 494 as you make ready out of Maple Grove. 494 eastbound, get ready for your slowdowns there. Piatt Knob Road, heading over to Hardman Avenue. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
If you have trees to trim or need tree removal, call an ISA certified arborist. Call the CCO Land Company I use. B&M Tree Service, 1-800-569-9034. Or get on the web, bnmtree.com.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
B&M Tree Service bringing us the weather forecast. Tonight, mainly clear. It is real windy out there. Low at 38. It'll be windy again tomorrow. High of 55. It is 54 right now, but it's so dang windy it feels like it's 40 on CCO.
Where curiosity hits the gas. Drive time with DeRusha on UNSTUCK 830 WCCO.
Patio's open over at Minneapolis Club right up the street here in downtown Minneapolis. And the bar and the restaurant, you can make a reservation. Boy, wouldn't that be fun? Little present to give to mom. Say, I'm going to take you downtown and take you to Minneapolis Club for dinner. You can book those reservations right on their website. Lots of texts coming in talking about the legislature and talking about their vote on today, the Senate voting on straight party line to change gun laws in Minnesota. It's going nowhere. The House, there's no way this gets through the Minnesota House. Let's go to Tom, who is a candidate for U.S. Senate, Republican candidate, Tom Weiler. Hey, Tom, good to hear from you. What do you have to say about changing gun laws on the state level?
What I have to say is I want to have a armed security guard at every school in Minnesota and in this country. And I know I'm not trying to dodge the issue.
Yeah.
But to your point on performative or not, what absolutely drives me nuts is performative acts or performative bills that don't directly address the problem. And to me, gun violence is a huge issue in this country. I'm not debating that at all. The one thing that is another huge issue related, but separate is school violence and school attacks. And bottom line, our kids getting murdered at schools.
Yeah.
Clearly with enunciation. And I was actually on Capitol Hill when Sandy Hook tragically occurred. And I thought, that has to make people move up to solve this problem. And to me, it's not a perfect solution, but there's for about $150 million a year, by my math, you could put one armed security guard at every K through 12 school in Minnesota. And to me,
so if
that's just gotta be a
say,
priority.
Tom, that the Democrats stipulated that, because I think that's a reasonable, again, if you're looking at states as a laboratory, like let's try something. All right. I say, let's try that. Would you be open to some sort of limit on magazine capacity, on assault style weapons? Where's the movement? Is there any movement when it comes to guns?
I'm open for a compromise in this case. I think increasing school security and overall security, with armed security guard and other avenues, I think that actually addresses and directly solves the problem. That's why I'm pushing for it. If it was sort of a combined bill,
armed security hasn't been a foolproof scenario, but either would a gun ban. You know what I mean? None of these things are perfect, but you sure would have. You sure would have a better shot, I think, if you had security.
And there's an element where, everything in this world that you need to secure, there is an armed security guard there, a military base, an airport. It's a proven way that it doesn't eliminate the threat,
right?
But it makes it a harder target and it deters. And I think if anything, let's make our schools hard targets and deter people. And I know it's sad, but if a school's a hard target and there's a guy with a gun who's crazy, he's not going to go to the school. He's going to go to a softer target.
Maybe.
And that's going to be tragic just as well. But we need to keep our kids safe. That to me is just a fundamental thing that we can take aggressive measures on to do. And I think, again, not a perfect solution, but a starting point, I think.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it. And Texer is pointing out, it's not going to solve maybe half of the school shootings. It wouldn't have helped in enunciation. But again, I would say that none of these things are going to solve everything. So I'm not against saying, like, let's try it. Now, you can have a debate like, should the state pay for this at every school or only at public schools, or how do we do it? I don't know. But I do think that people get so locked in on their They're ideological. This is what I stand for. I stand for limits on guns, and that's all I'm going to take. And Republicans stand for no limits on guns. And the truth is, like, increasing security, do I like that solution? I don't. Do I think in this day and age we need that? I do. Is it going to solve all of it? No. Is a gun ban going to solve all of it? Also, no. Should we do something on guns? For me, yes. For me, yes. Texters say there is value in taking the vote because the no votes identify those with a lack of care for public safety. I disagree with that, but I do think the no vote does force a conversation that you get to have as a voter. You get to say, why did you vote no on this? What's it going to take? And you should be having those conversations. Texters say this is another situation where the mass majority of individuals have something taken away due to a small minority. I believe in thorough background checks and waiting period. I do think a longer waiting period. I think you should have to wait a month myself. Now, everyone's going to text, and constitutional lawyers sitting at home are going to tell me I'm wrong. Maybe. I'm just telling you what I think. And I think you should go to Continental Diamond in St. Louis Park or visit their website at continentaldiamond.com. Your time check is 4:57. Our special report on hospitals coming up in just a couple of minutes. Keep it here on CCO.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility